SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back to the course on product engineering and design thinking. Today we will be discussing on user experience and user interface, which is lecture number 37 in module number 8. The user experience is becoming a very important thing that the product has different features, different functionalities, yet the overall experience or overall liking, or in other words which is called pleasantness or excitement with a product doesn't always happen. So what is that and how to create that? Because see, if the user is excited or delighted with the product, then automatically this product has a great prospect, in the sense that, as we had discussed earlier also, that one quality of a good product is how through its design and its of course realization it can go viral. If the total experience, overall experience is good about a product, people will talk about it, people would refer to other people, and that's how this product will get traction. So this has become immensely important now, this user experience and user interface. In fact, as the realization has come that it is an important feature, there are a couple of questions that who will do this? Whether there would be an exclusive professional for user experience designing, or should it be the extension or part of product designers or product engineers? We will deal with that aspect also. So we will and also we will discuss various other things, but let us go to the concept covered part, where we would see what exactly we will be discussing. So one is that, as I just started discussing with this imperatives of user experience in product engineering, why it is essential, that we will have to find out. The UX UI design prospect, because after all this is not a very old kind of a paradigm. So those who would be trying or planning to become the practitioner or researcher, whatever, in this field, they will have to see what is the prospect in this, how this particular market is growing, and what is the job opportunities and all. So that is one. Then we will talk about the UX design and UI, that is user experience called UX and user interface called UI in short, and then there is the acronym design and UI design principles. Naturally, the how the UX design is the integral part of the process, that also we have to see. Without this, how the product will suffer, how the business or the enterprise will suffer, that we will understand. Then we will talk about what are the software and tools available for this. because when something is to be materialized in today's context, we need certain tools, and here as a great opportunity and scope, there are quite a few good softwares have come up which people can use, and for a learner one can download the free version or open source version and practice it. I'll tell you why. Also interestingly, perhaps you have heard, broadly I am saying the virtual reality. Actually virtual reality is a very broad term, but under this virtual reality also comes augmented reality and also come mixed reality, etc. But for now the overall technology, as we know, is known as virtual reality. So how a product will actually be seen, moving, working, etc., that we can see in the virtual reality context, and therefore finally we would try to find out what are the expertise skill set required to become or to learn this design methodology, that is UX, user experience design methodology. Now we will quickly go into this thing, say an efficacious product engineering approach needs embedding user experience. Why? We have partly discussed. It is required for understanding the use context, the scenario, strategizing and making pertinent decisions throughout the product design and development process. So, at every stage and level, how people, the user, would perceive, it is to be kept in mind. This research, UX research, that is, UX research helps to identify and support or reject. See, there are certain assumptions. This that whether people would like it, people would not like it. So those assumptions will be either supported or accepted, or it will be rejected. So and recognize the needs and goals and expectation of the target customer or user or the group, and a crucial part of the experience design. So research is a crucial part of this experience design, UX research, and typically it is done at the front end, at the beginning of the exercise of development, where it starts with the design, which we have discussed earlier also when we discussed the front end part. It is important for the industry, since UX deals with investigate for the quality of interaction or connection the product can create with the user, which is necessary for customer acquisition, which ultimately customer acquisition means it should get converted to sale. So if we can give good experience, it will be converted to sale. When we go to a good hotel, say for example, or a good restaurant for example, we tend to go there more and more in other times also. So similarly, when someone using a product, maybe a television, maybe a mobile phone, maybe a car, if they like it, then naturally they would go and repeatedly use that and buy. So thereby you get the new business, you get retention, that happens. Now it has become a part of the technology and the design world. So people now know that it is one of the things to be done. So anyone connected to product design needs to know this, what is UX. So having said that, we would see quickly a prospect that what is happening here, that we found that there is a survey. We find that in India the growth is quite steady, and steadily it is growing, the UX professional, UI professionals. Now the size of the business that you can see, which was in 2021, which was USD 465 million, is projected to be around 1350 million by 2028. If you calculate, it would be about 15% growth year on year. So there are very few branches or disciplines or work domain where this kind of growth can be seen. So, here a good job prospect also lies. Therefore, if one is working in this area, would be beneficial for career and prospect. And this work domain is rather encompassing. It touches upon various other aspects in the entire design process. So, it is that way quite satisfying. Now, the term UX design and UI are occasionally they are interchangeably used. That okay, instead of UI they are calling UX, etc. But that is not a very correct understanding. We need to understand these are two different aspects, and we have to understand them in such a way that when we are making a distinction, we are also aware how that distinction will be used in that product system to fetch the maximum benefit. So, user interface is a salient aspect of user experience, because through that interface we get the experience. How I operate my mobile phone buttons give me the experience of that system, of that TV watching, that particularly this remote controller. So, the buttons, its layout, its arrangement, etc. are those interfaces through which we get that experience. So, that is what we need to understand. How do we do the interface so that experience becomes very exciting or wonderful. Now, but this user interface is still the only the upper layer, this upper surface layer, the veneer. But there are many other things inside which goes into the main design, which makes the product attractive and functioning and purposeful. Now, we need to understand that, and so it is just not that interface, it is just not that superficial thing, it goes much deeper, the total functioning. Experience comes from the total functioning. Experience comes from how it is taking care of some needs, how it is taking care of that the ultimate job to be done using that particular product. So, that and this user interface all put together gives the total experience about the product. Now, the UX designers reckon beyond the initial interaction as they design with the function underneath the interface layer, complementing the two combined, as I just now said. Now, here I would like to you to see the quote of Steve Jobs, which you read, but in short. The concept is in the bold at the below. I mean, on top is the complete quote. At the bottom in the bold, the summary of that quote, which you can see is the design is not just what it looks like and feels like. The design is how it works. So, although we say its form, its utilities, all are very fine, but on the whole, how it works and how it functions, how it caters to the basic need or meet or helps to solve that problem or perform the job for which it is intended is important. So, the overall experience is important. We will come to that also. So, here we come to the user interface designs. Now, you see that many products are becoming partly digital, is a physical digital product, be it say I had talked about the mobile phones, it can be air conditioners, it can be car dashboards, which have a digital screen for visual, etc. So, these are the some examples. So, the overall user experience of a car driving is of course the driving itself, how good the power steering is, and how the ergonomics is, how the automotive the specifications are, whether it gives less vibration or what is the power or speed, etc., all those things. But at the same time, overall experience, that how it whether it is spacious, whether it gives those comforts, etc., all are part of this whole design. So, user experience design is important there. So, so UI design, interface design is an important aspect or part of the UX, as the former's effort enhances the user's interaction with the products. Through that it is actually being interactive, both physical and digital. That leads to pleasant experience. That is exactly what we are trying to do, pleasant, overall pleasantness. Now, despite the commonality of user experience for both physical and digital, there are certain commonalities, but then there are differences also. Like say for example, in a physical product, one will have to consider say the weight, durability, the volume, the actuation force, all that. For a digital, say for a website, those factors doesn't come in, but it has other factors. How the navigation happens, how the hyperlinks are done. So, those are the features, but this gives a total user experience in the physical system and they are in the digital system. Be that as it may, the idea is that the overall experience has to be pleasant. It is best if the interface can be used intuitively and can be simple to use. In fact, I can tell you instead of using a manual to operate musical system, so a synthesizer kind of a musical system, if the buttons are such or the instruction on the panel is such that looking at that one can go and learn it without the manual, then that gives a huge, a wonderful user experience, that with much simplicity one can learn. It is not that everyone has to turn to that leaflet all the time. So, product and UI designers work in tandem, very close to integrate, say for example, the visual screen and the device itself to facilitate and improve better interaction with the product. So, some salient features of UI design principles is that each element of the user interface design must be functional and purposeful, so as to meet the user's need and helps to perform the tasks the product is designed for. Very natural, that is rudimentary. Designers need to think through how the UIs will be usable while interacting with the product. Effecting interactions with the interface like a natural process is recommendable to UI designers to follow a good design principles. Like say often you see that now the remotes etc. are available where it is through voice control. Similarly, somewhere it is gesture controlled. So, it is natural, the natural process, if one can do, does not have to type much and all. So, that gives a different level of user experience. The purpose of UI design is to make the user's interaction more simple and efficient. The more easily they can use it, usability, that is, usability, that is very important. If you can improve the usability, it becomes more likable in respect of accomplishing user goals, which is fundamental to user-centered design. Now, we will just quickly go through certain definitional aspect of it, that criteria for evaluating the user experience. This was the term was used by Don Norman, the user experience first, and then where it is said that how or what the users feel or think when using a product or service comprehensively what type of experience the users have. Now, what are the criteria for evaluating that user experience, be it a physical product or digital product? First is that value for money or value in simple terms, whether this is the worthy, meets the exact needs, and that at that price or the cost that we are prepared to or we think it is just. So, that is value. Performance, does it function as expected? That means how it was designed for, does it function, fulfill all the quality dimensions? That is the whether it is durable, whether it is robust, whether it is reliable, whether it is serviceable, and performance, even aesthetics. Now, as I was just mentioning about usability, which is a very important feature, and that comes in, is the product or device easy to use? That is the question. If is, then its usability is high. Then finally is, as you see under different areas, these are the things, and overall experience, all round experience. What is that all round experience? Is it delightful to use? For a website, is it easy to operate and navigate? Those are the things. I gave the example of a TV remote, that design of the remote, including the size, button layout, material, and the physical appearance, may impact how they perceive about the interaction. Similarly, for a digital product, the corresponding features will be in that context, of course, as I was just mentioning about the website navigation. UX design and its integral part, as this integral part of UX design, basically it is that UX design necessitates a thorough understanding of the user needs. That is where this integration comes in. It checks the pain points of the customer, that what troubles or what problem it has to solve, behaviors, the capability, that how one is capable to use that, and the context of use. Hence, the ability to empathize, to understand the needs of users is crucial for UX. And now I hope you just recall, as I use the term empathize, you will immediately be able to connect with the, our discussion on design thinking, which started with the first item or first step, which is called empathize. So, the empathizing is an important thing in user experience generation. So, you see how these different paradigms are coming together to deliver the objective, that is to give satisfaction to the user and customer. The product creators and designers must balance both the goals. What are the goals? One is that it should be user friendly with affordability, and the similarly at the same time one has to remain viable in the business. So, it should be viability, which should be supported through the viability will come also when the sales actually happens, and when the sales will happen, that when it can produce at target price and sell at target price, that is produce at target cost, best consideration. To achieve this, the product designers might remove a few non-vital things. You now recall the discussion on frugal engineering, where some non-vital features, if we eliminate, then we can make it more affordable and still preserving the minimum technical requirements that it needs, which reminds us of the frugal engineering. So, frugal engineering, here you see we are talking about user experience and we are talking about frugal engineering. So, at some point in time we have to see when these are in sync. Not all frugal engineering activities are UX activities, not all UX activities are frugal engineering activities, but there can be certain sync, and if that sync can be created, then that is a wonderful blend. Now, question is, people ask, is UX design are you designing the user's experience? No. User experience cannot be designed. what it does is that the designer can create conditions to elicit favorability, and hence it is designed for user experience or UX. So, we are creating the conditions so that the user would like it, would experience better. Now, in continuation to that, we see that user experience design is a process that is adopted by the design teams that fend for intended experience. We want that, okay, they should get this kind of a pleasantness, that experience, whether we are designing to actually meet them. So, what we are doing, involving the entire process of assimilating and integrating the product, utility and usability design. Two words I have used: utility, which is more like a feature, and usability that we have been discussing so long. Now, where these two things match ideally, the utility and usability, then truly the usefulness comes. So, the utility and usefulness together we have to see. Both are complied. Utility in simpler terms is that helps to operate for what the user needs. Basically is the design features and functionalities, as I have said, and functionalities of the product, which should have ease of use or usability. So, utility should have ease of use, and that is usability. So, utility of the feature should be easy to use, and then it becomes useful. Feature selection has been discussed earlier. We have discussed how the features should be detected, but it is not that issue now. So, we will take care of that in a different context. We have already done that. So, we would assume that whatever feature is there, we are talking based on that. However, usability needs to be addressed as in due. We will go to the next slide for that, but in the meantime, we have to remember that high quality of user experience does not come only from the explicit need, that is the stated needs. It also comes from the implicit needs, that the need that has not been stated, but one has to understand what the customer expects. So, that so naturally we do not have to tell that in a remote what the customer expects. If we can understand, okay, customer expects that, okay, the button should be such, it should be able to hold, it should to make forward, it should be those features if we can have, and then if some features they have not mentioned, but we can keep that, then give this great satisfaction. So, implicit needs also to be taken care of for UX. So, usability, although we have explained it already, usability can be examined in various ways. One is the user testing is an effective method that is commonly employed, comprising of 3 action steps. What? To search out some archetypical users, but those who would be using it and in real life, actual life. So, that is to find out first, to suggest the user to perform customary tasks applying the design contraption, the device that is a prototype or has been developed, to observe that the users are trying to accomplish, what they are trying to accomplish, where they can negotiate or operate properly, and where they experience the difficulties with the user interface, or how they are finding the way to and to listen to their comments carefully. This is how we can do the usability test, whether the usability part. And for that, say, you can start with the 5 users, not a big group, but if we can start with the 5 users, that would give us a fairly good idea as to how it will work instead of a large scale study. So, as I just mentioned a little while ago, both usability and utility are important, as together they determine the usefulness of a thing or the product or design. One of them going imperfect or wrong will serve no purpose. If the utility is bad or the usability is bad, it is not going to be good. So both have to be good for usefulness and give satisfaction. Now, what are the skill sets? Because we know what is to be done, now how it is to be done. So what is the preparation, how one can use it in this profession? So actually for that there are several software that can be used, such as InVision, such as Figma, such as Zeppelin, and there are several other tools. Good news is that they have also certain versions which are free downloadable and student versions they are called. Now also for UX designer, one will have to have the experience of conducting user research, usability testing, alpha beta testing and rapid prototyping, which we already have discussed. So you are already prepared for this. So you have learned many things already, and possibly you would be picking up one or two things to become a user experience designer. Communication on the design process, problem statement, ideas and solutions to the development teams, product management teams and the concerned stakeholders, that one has to have reasonably good communication. Communication means understanding and clarity of the exchanges thought. That is what is called communication. How you express in writing or verbally what exactly is the technical requirement and all. So the softwares, this as I have named, have free versions that you can check. I have given the names of the softwares. You can go to the website and check. UX researchers may not be able to picture how a design created in lab setting would work in the actual environment, often hazardous or different in application condition due to geographic dissimilarity. So actual condition, this worked in the lab condition. So to verify that, people can use VR. The designer can interpose the factors into the lab setting using virtual reality. So how in real condition it will work? So give the settings of the work and put the product in, so that in that how it will work. I already said the VR is a general terminology. It has augmented reality and mixed reality is a part of it. Broad terminology is this. Now question is, why should we why the product designer will become UX designer? What is the benefit? The thing is that there are few reasons. One is that organizations may not find value that an exclusive user experience designer should be there, but they want that the person who is already in design, they pick up the necessary component and do that work. So product designer, if he is also gaining some experience or expertise in this, is very useful. Some people also view that UX designer is not very close part of the design team, so they are a bit isolated. So if the design group itself can absorb that, the core design group that is useful. And due to the subjective nature of UX design, evaluating the effectiveness and return on investment of UX design using quantitative measures remains a challenge. So that is another question. I mean, whether this gain is through UX design or not, that remains a question. So it is always good that if the product designer also can have a good grasp on user experience. That is both way good from the product design aspect also, and that getting that job done also. Particularly, see, the small units and startups cannot usually afford to engage dedicated employees for UX design, where there is a great scope. That as a product designer, you are already a product engineer, product designer, and now if you can do that, your value will increase. Training existing product design staff in corporate organization in such situation in the principle and processes of UX would be purposeful. So by training them up would be beneficial, by training the product engineers and product designers in UX design. So that is why we have brought in, so that you have the exposure here, so that you can take it up as course of your future action. So that is what we wanted to come to, that once we know what is to be done, and then in the course of action what is to be done. So in conclusion, we know that what we have discussed, the discourse begins with the imperatives of user designing, user experience in product engineering, and the practice of it not being very old. As I said, we started with the prospecting. So, what will happen if we learn this kind of a thing, and we discuss the principles of this UX and UI, and finally we have talked about the softwares and the tools and methodologies of different softwares, VR, AR, MR, etc. And we have discussed also the skill set that is required to achieve the objective of the UX, so that the overall product improves, overall business improves, and the opportunity of that engineer or designer improves. So, this is the reference, and I am sure that as you would be using some of the softwares that I have given, downloading and using that the free version, you would get more interest in this, and you will become more knowledgeable and will be able to use it. I hope this discussion helped. Thank you very much.